Hello friends, welcome to Digital Learning. In previous session, we learned about class loader subsystem and types of loader. In this session, we will learn about memory area. So after loading .class file, JVM provide a memory area for a particular program. So basically, there are 5 types of memory area available in JVM. So let's start the topic. Memory area. So our first memory area is method area. Method area. So for every JVM, a method area will be available, and the method area will be created at the time of JVM startup. So whenever we start our JVM, a method area will be created. So inside the method area, we store our class level data. For example, static variable, static block, static methods, content pool, because content pool also the part of class. So we also store content pool in method area. So let's understand by a diagram. So suppose this is our method area. This is our method area. Inside method area, we store our class level data like static variable, static method, static block, and content pool. Static variable, static block, static methods, and next one is uh, content pool. Content pool. So are the these things we can store in our method area. So let's move on next memory area. So second memory area is heap area. Heap area. So for every JVM, one heap area is available, and the heap area will be created at the time of JVM start. So whenever we start our JVM, a heap area will be created internally in JVM. So inside heap area, we store our object level data. So what are the object level data? All instance variable, all array, because array also is the object in Java. So we can also store array in heap area. Third one is we can store our all objects. So let's understand by a diagram. So suppose this is our heap memory. Suppose this is our heap memory. This is our heap memory. Inside heap memory, we store uh, instance variable, static variable, sorry, objects, and arrays. Arrays. So all array we store in heap memory, all instance variable we store in heap memory, all objects we store in heap memory. So basically, A heap memory can be accessed by multiple threads. So this area is not thread safe area because multiple thread can access this area. So our program can communicate with directly with JVM by using runtime objects. Through this runtime object, we can get uh, some kind of information like what is the total memory of heap size, what is the maximum size of heap, what is the free memory of heap area. So let's try to understand by a diagram, sorry, program. So suppose here we will create a for object for runtime class. So suppose this is our runtime r equals to runtime dot get stance. So here we are creating a runtime object using factory method. Through this object we can get information like total memory. So system dot out dot println maximum memory, maximum memory, r dot maximum memory. Similarly we can get total memory. So total memory, total memory. Similarly we can get free memory. So let's run the program. So here we are getting maximum memory, total memory of heap, and free memory of heap. So here we are getting in KB. So we can also convert it in MB. So let's convert it. MB equals to 1024 into 1024. Let's divide it by MB, MB, and MB. Let's run it. So here we are getting maximum memory of heap in MB, total memory in total memory of heap in MB, and free memory of heap in MB. So basically the heap size is fixed, but we can increase or decrease heap size according to our requirement. So we can set a maximum, we can also set a maximum heap size, minimum heap size, total heap size. So we can reduce, increase or reduce heap size according to our requirement. So let's move on our next topic, stack memory. So our third memory area is stack memory. Stack memory. So for every thread, JVM will create a separate stack at the time of thread creation. So whenever we create a thread, JVM will create a stack memory for every thread. So after completing a method, the corresponding entry from the stack will be removed. And after completing all methods call, stack will be become empty and destroy the stack area. And each entry in the stack is called stack frame or activation record. So let's understand it by a diagram. So suppose this is our so every thread our JVM will create a runtime stack. So suppose this is our runtime stack. This is our runtime stack. This is our runtime stack. And every entry in runtime stack is called activation record. So suppose this is our runtime stack, a runtime stack, and here this is our stack frame. This is called each and every entry. So like methods. So stack frame or activation record. So for example, suppose we are creating a, so let's understand it by a program. So, so this is our M1 method. So suppose this is our program. According to diagram in our stack, this is our main method. So this is our main method. Sorry. This is our main method. So here this is our main method will be stored in runtime stack, and here we created a M1 method, and M1 method will call M2 method. So this is our M2 method. So in that particular stack, this is our, in this stack M1 will store here, M1 M2 method will be stored here. This is our M2 method. So after completing M2 method, JVM will destroy this stack frame. So suppose here we completing our M2 method. Here we completed our method. After completed M2 method, JVM will destroy this stack frame. After completing M1 method, JVM will destroy this activation record, and after completing main method, JVM will destroy this activation record, and after completing the program, JVM will destroy this runtime. JVM will destroy this runtime stack. So every thread JVM will create a runtime stack. So suppose if we create 3 threads, so JVM will create 3 runtime stacks. So let's understand by a diagram. So suppose this is our method, sorry, this is our stack area. This is our stack area. Stack area. Inside stack area, suppose we created 3 threads. So JVM will create 3 runtime stack. Suppose this is our runtime stack 1. This is our runtime stack 2. And this is our runtime stack 3. every thread, suppose this is our thread at T1 thread, this is our T2 thread, and this is our T3, sorry, T3. So this is our runtime stack 1. Runtime stack. This is runtime stack for thread 2. This is runtime stack for stack 3. So for every thread, JVM will create a separate runtime stack. So basically, JVM provide a separate thread, separate runtime stack for every thread. So this is the area, and this is the thread shape area. So now let's move on our next memory area. Our next memory area is PC register. PC register. So for every thread, JVM will create a separate PC register at the time of thread creation. So basically, the main work of PC register is PC register contain the address of current execution instructions. After completing current execution instruction, it's move on next instruction. Let's move on next memory area. So our fifth memory area is native method stack. So native method stack. This is our fifth memory area. So for every thread, JVM will create a separate native method stack. So all native method like hash code, because hash code is a native method, and wait method. Wait method is also a native method. So all native method will be stored in our native method stack. So we have two conclusions. First one is for every JVM. Suppose for every JVM, for every JVM, a heap area will be created. Heap area will be created, and a method area will be created. Method area. And for every thread, for every thread, for every thread, a PC register will be created. Register. A stack area will be created. A stack area, and a stack area and native method area. So a native method area will be created for every thread. Method area. So suppose we have a static variable, a stance variable, and a local variable. For so we store all variable, all static variable. So all static variable will be stored in method area. All stance variable will be stored in heap area, and all local variable will be stored in our stack area. So we have two conclusions. For every JVM, a heap area and a method area will be created. For every thread, a PC register, a stake area, and a native method area will be created. And all static variable will be stored in method area. All stance variable will be stored in heap area, and all local variable will be stored in stake area. So our next topic is execution engine. So let's move on. Next topic, execution engine. So this is the central component of JVM. So the execution of engine is responsible for executing a Java program. So because it is responsible to executing a program, so it has two components. First one is interpreter and second one is compiler. So it has two components. First one is interpreter, and second one is compiler. So it has two components, interpreter and compiler. So compiler read data and convert. Sorry. So interpreter is responsible to read data in form of byte code and convert into machine code. So it is also called, so it's read data. Basically, it's read data in form of byte code. So we can say byte code, byte code, and it will convert into native code or machine code, So sorry, it will convert into machine code. But there is a disadvantage of interpreter, because the problem with interpreter is inter interprets every time, even the same method invoke multiple time. So suppose we call a method multiple time, each and every time it will read the data as a byte code, and every time it will convert into machine code. So this is the main advantage of interpreter. So Sun Microsystem introduced a compiler, JIT compiler, in 1.1 version. So the main purpose of compiler is improve the performance of the system. So every time method call, it's invoked every time and count. So after reaching threshold point, it's directly provide native code to JVM. So that's why we can improve our system performance. So there is no need to compile again by compiler. It's directly provide native code to JVM. Then our next topic is JNI. JNI. JNI means Java Native Interface. So let's try to understand by a diagram. So suppose this is our runtime engine. This is our runtime engine, and this is JNI, and this is Java Native Interface. So it has two components. First one is interpreter, second one is JIT compiler. So this is our execution engine. This is our execution engine. This is our interpreter. This is our JIT compiler, JIT compiler, and this is our JNI, Java Native Interface. So basically, it is a intermediate provide interface. Sorry, it is a mediator to provide native library to execution engine. So this is our Java native and sorry, this is our Java native interface. Native interface. So this is the diagram of JVM, sorry JNI, Java native interface. So basically, it is an intermediate which provide native library to execution engine. So